Hello. I am being guided to offer an attunement to more clarity for this auspicious time of transformation as we remember how to navigate with our discernment. There is a lot of misinformation out there, and we can tend to go into a disempowered stance of, gosh, I don't even know what to believe. I don't know what's true. And we can feel lost. We can feel separate from our guidance. We can feel abandoned or alone in a way. It can start to manifest as depression or a sense of disempowerment. So this clarity attunement is really about remembering where our clarity actually is, where it comes from, where the source of it is. And as an energetic being of light, and that's our true identity, you are an energetic being of light emanating from an infinite loving source. That is who you are. In this experience of the physical realm, what happens is we forget that this is the reflection. The outer experience is the reflection. And nothing actually lives there as far as our power, our clarity, our discernment, our guidance, our abundance, our joy, our freedom, our flow, our safety, our support. That's the part we're being invited to remember, is to not seek it out here, but to seek it within the kingdom, to seek it within our light, to seek it within source itself that flows through you as your essence. It's never separate from you. So that's actually where you can access your clarity. And so it gets confusing because it's like, well, don't I get it through information or through a book or an article or a video or an intuitive explaining to me what's going on, or through some other way out in the world? And so what we would say is that's how it can show up. But how it shows up, or what shows up, is a reflection of the vibration of clarity you've chosen to activate within your light. When you activate the clarity within you as a vibration, not words, not stories, not information, you activate the vibration of clarity, then that clarity can reflect in the world as things that bring you clarity. And so just take a deep breath in as we bring in some energetic downloads to remind you how to access your clarity within your light. And it's more about intention than anything. And what it requires is for us to be willing to let go of everywhere we've made this something outside of ourselves, some external circumstance, the source of our clarity, or person, or experience. That's not the source of your clarity. That's how the clarity can be brought to you, but you are the source of it. You activate it within yourself first, and then it reflects in a way that calls it in. And so when we try to control the how it shows up, then we get discombobulated again, and we start to put our reference points for our clarity out here, our reference points for control, for creativity out here. And things get distorted. It doesn't really come in. It doesn't really sync up. We're out of alignment. So this shows up out of alignment. And so what we would recommend and what we can invite you into is inviting you at the level of your higher self to bring all your reference points for your clarity, for your safety, for your support, for your discernment, for your guidance off of everyone and everything, even outside guides and angels, because they aren't the source of it either. They're bringing it to you to the degree with which you activate it within yourself. You're the source of it. Source is the source of it. You're an extension of source. You source directly from source your own infinite supply of all things. That's the divine design. Have we been functioning another way in separation consciousness and trying to get it from outside of us? Yes. Does that really work? Not really. It's distorted. We get tangled up in all kinds of codependent, discombobulated frequencies that don't work for us, that aren't calibrated for us. Your source energy that flows through you as you is calibrated for you because it is you. So when you access source at source and activate whatever you wish to activate within your beam of light, it will reflect in a way that you can receive it, in a way that honors you, in a way that seems like the universe is going, here you go. So everywhere you've given your power to the universe to bring clarity to you, are you willing to release and uncreate that? It's not the universe's responsibility to do that. Fire the universe from being responsible for that for you. You're responsible to choose it for yourself, and the universe will reflect it to the degree with which you choose it. We're going to bring that in a deeper way. Will you bring all your reference points back to you, back to your being for your safety, your support, your clarity, your security, your safety, your knowing? Fire everything and everyone else from being responsible for you. Now, when we say you, we're talking about you at the level of your higher self, which knows its connection to an infinite source, not the small self that's trying to function sometimes from ego or gets confused. It's you holding that responsibility appropriately at the level of your higher self within your being, within your light. Because when you give that responsibility away, it sets up an appearance of separation from the very thing you wish to experience and have. Because we've given this thing or this person or this other being outside of us responsibility for bringing us XYZ. And then we're waiting. Why aren't you bringing me XYZ? I've asked you to bring me XYZ. But if we've made them energetically responsible for doing that, and for being responsible, I don't have another word for it, responsible for bringing to us a certain thing or experience or clarity in this case, then it sets up this pause where this out here is waiting for you to activate it within yourself, to choose it for yourself. And you're the only one that can choose for you. So that's why you're required for this to work in synchronicity, for you to hold the responsibility for it at the level of your higher self. Because it's really not about the things. The things are the reflection. The information is the reflection. The guidance is the reflection. The conscious mind receiving what it needs to see or hear or understand is the reflection. It's the effect of the activation within your energetic matrix. And only you can do that for you in collaboration with your higher self. So when we give that responsibility away, they can't choose for us. They can't activate it for us. They can't call to us, for us, exactly what's required for us, because they're not calibrated the way we're calibrated. We have our own unique divine blueprint. So this is speaking to sovereignty, where we hold all attachment and responsibility for ourselves on ourselves. Then that's when things get magical. But if you're finding that you're attempting to call things forth for you and it's not happening, ask yourself if you've given that responsibility for it away. And this isn't as much about a doing as it is a being. Because it's you holding the responsibility to activate the vibrations within you by asking your higher self to do it for you. That is the doing. That's it. It's not the outer world action. Not that that won't be an effect. That will be an inspired extension of what we're speaking to. But the first step is for you to ask. You could say, to choose in your divine sovereignty. And it can sound something like this. I am now choosing to call forth greater clarity. I recognize that I am a divine being of light as an extension of infinite source light itself that contains everything, all possibilities. And I am now choosing to invite my higher self to activate within my source light, that is me, that I was created as, the vibration of clarity. And I invite my body, David, to do the same for itself, if it chooses. And then you let go. You're not attached to how it shows up. You're not attached to how long it takes. You're not attached to what it looks like. You're not trying to force anything. Now you're in allowing, and you're in a more of a receptive listening mode where you're trusting, you're knowing it's going to show up in the right and perfect way, in the divine right timing. And that's this confidence of the metaphysics. I mean, it's actually science when you look at it from the perspective the Council of Light sees it. It's science. It's vibrational science. Frequency is the creation in this realm. It will call to you that which that is that frequency. And it's more of a reflection. We're really wanting to term it that way because a lot of times in relationship to the law of attraction, people think about things outside of them coming to them. It kind of looks that way, but it's actually a reflection happening. That's actually a more accurate way. It's a reflection of the frequency you're holding within your beam. This is the mirror. And is it just clarity? Could it have other things mixed in with it? Yes, because your energetic vibration, your energetic matrix, the consciousness of you, if you will, is a combination of what you're holding vibrationally on a conscious level and also on an unconscious level. So this is a much bigger teaching. But as you choose to consistently activate within you, and if it's something you're really working on, do it every day for 2 or 3 months. Divine Self, will you activate greater clarity within me? Body David, will you do the same? I'm choosing to activate greater clarity. Or whatever quality it is that you're wishing to cultivate. And then consciously choose to bring all your reference points for where your clarity lives back into your beam of light, knowing this is the reflection. It's exactly like a mirror. If I put my glasses on, I'm going to see them in the mirror, that they're on my face. If you activate clarity within you, it's going to reflect onto the screen, the mirror, the projection. It's a law. There's no getting around it. Now, if there's distortion present, you'll see that distortion also. So this is never against you. The reflection is just showing you. It's like being mad at your mirror because it's showing you a blemish on your face. It's just showing you what's there. That's all it is. It's feedback for what you're vibrating in your field consciously and unconsciously. So if you don't like what's showing up, connect back within you, work with your higher self and say, okay, I'm noticing a distortion here that I no longer wish to choose. Will you support me in correcting it? We don't have to consciously know what it represents, but we can begin to work with it in such a way that, so this is all about clarity, because we actually have the clarity. We just don't think we have the clarity. The clarity is right here in front of us, always. It's showing us exactly what's running in our energetic fields, which therefore gives us the information we need to choose differently around it if we choose or not. So if there's a distortion out here that keeps projecting as a lack in some way, it could be lack of worth, it could be lack of money, it could be lack of love, lack of health or well-being in some way, lack of power, lack of clarity, they're saying. When you discern what that is, okay, what is it that I wish to actually have more of? If I'm experiencing a lack of worth, then I want more worth. So higher self, bring all my reference points for where I'm referencing my worth on anything or anyone out here back to my beam of light. So I'm referencing my worth appropriately in what I really am. and where it really lives, and then activate more of it within me, the knowing of my worth. Body Deva, will you do the same for you? Because when you invite the Body Deva to join you, it creates this cohesive, synergistic kind of stepping into it. So it's easier for both of you to step into when you choose it together. And I found in my experience that 99% of the time, if you invite the Body Deva to join you, it's going to say yes. But it's coming, if it's coming from an unattached place where we're not trying to force it, we're not trying to choose for the Body Deva, because we're in a free will zone. We can only choose for ourselves. And take a deep breath in. So as you play with this, we would encourage you to maybe take a moment. We're in the full moon energy, and it's always a great time for, and also eclipse energy, they're reminding me. This is a great time of change and transformation. And so in the full moon energy, many times things that are ready to complete will be brought to light because the moon is full. It's shining brightly on the quote unquote shadow. The shadow isn't wrong or bad. It's just something we've chosen in the past that's being invited to be shifted beyond, the lessons to be learned and checked off around it. Are you really unworthy? Do you choose to still identify as unworthy, or have you learned enough through the experience of thinking you weren't worthy that you're ready to retire that? And if so, use this process as a powerful way to choose and to rewire your energetic matrix, to reference your worth appropriately, and to activate greater worth within your light, within your being, so that it can reflect as your experience of yourself. You're the only one that can choose how to experience yourself, and that is the power you have. You get to choose in every single moment who you are. Now, does it change the truth of who you are? No, you're always this being of love and light that is an extension of infinite source. That is the absolute truth of you. Can you choose to experience yourself as something else in order to learn certain lessons and grow as a soul? Yes. And you can decide when you've had enough of a particular experience of yourself. If you're seeing it, if you're conscious of it, that's usually an indicator that you're ready to retire it. Because up until now, up until you were conscious of it, it was unconscious. And it was still running in your energetic fields. It was still creating an experience of yourself, reflecting in certain ways in your life as an experience of yourself based on frequency. Unworthiness is a frequency. And so some things to ask yourself around some of these old identifications. And maybe one of these old identifications is, I don't have clarity. I'm never clear. I never know. Are you willing to retire that? Are you willing to no longer believe it and experience yourself as that? Are you willing to step into the empowerment of you as the one who can choose a new experience of yourself in collaboration with your divine self? You're in the driver's seat. Will you hold that responsibility? Because if you don't hold the responsibility for choosing and you're waiting for something else to choose, nothing changes. Everything just continues to recycle until you're ready to step into the driver's seat and take the wheel with regard to what you're choosing. And in my case, and this is just what I value for me, very early on in my journey, when I began to awaken spiritually, was I want to know who I am as the divine self. That was my choice. I want to know what that is because it feels very true to me that God would create me in its image and likeness and not as this other thing that I'm currently perceiving myself as. And so I've been consistently working in that direction to recognize when there's a distortion present in the reflection and to choose again around it and to say, this reflection isn't an accurate interpretation of me as an extension of infinite source itself. So it must be an error in perception somewhere. There must be something, a vibration that's distorted, that isn't coherent. Divine self, will you tweak that in my energetic fields and reinterpret for me what it represents within my consciousness? It's like inviting your higher self to unhypnotize you in a way. Inviting the divine to unhypnotize you. Remind me who I am as an extension of the divine. Remind me who I really am as the one who is of infinite worth because God created me perfect in its image and likeness. There's no question of your divine perfection. And it's not wrong or bad. There's no right or wrong as to what you choose to experience yourself as. But what this is inviting you into is the clarity that you actually already have, the clarity in certain ways that you can begin to work with to activate even more clarity and to use the clarity that's right in front of you to perceive it correctly so that you can begin to choose in favor of what honors you, if you choose. And it is a bit of a journey, but that's why we're here. It's why we incarnated into this realm. We wanted the contrast. We wanted to be able to have the screen of awareness to see what was running in our energetic fields and to begin to evolve our consciousness in a conscious way, in an accelerated way. This lifetime is very accelerated. And so as you activate more clarity within your being, you call to you those experiences of greater clarity and those what we would call aha moments. And so we're also going to bring in the kind of pure definition of clarity just to help support you in moving even more into this, referencing it appropriately within your light. And take a deep breath in. And then once you complete, it's always helpful to update your grids or reference points because you're different now, the ways in which you perceive and are perceived, because it literally, when you work with your energetic fields in this way, and your matrix, your energetic matrix, and what is the source of the reflection, it affects every relationship you have to basically every aspect of your life, every aspect of like other relationships you have in your life. And it brings it into a higher vibration because you're moving more into who you are. And what you are is at a very high vibration. And just because you're not maybe consciously experiencing yourself as that yet, there's nothing wrong with that. You are doing some soul work to integrate whatever is in the way of you living as your divine self 24/7. Healing all of the parts of you that think you're separate from source, if you choose. And humanity right now is in the midst of moving from the separation-based ways of being into unity consciousness. And so this transmission, this session, allows you a way of navigating that in an empowered way. It's a bit of a shortcut. So use it if it resonates. And if not, invite your higher self to activate greater clarity to bring to you what will resonate for you, or just invite your higher self to bring to you what will resonate for you. There is so much love here for you, and it is our honor to support you in this way. Thank you for showing up, and thank you for being the light that you are. Blessings.